Shalom. Call hello, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakaha Kwadash. Double honors into the apostles, double honors into the elder bishops. Salutations to all my fellow laborers doing this work in truth and sincerity, risking their lives and their freedom to do so now more so than ever. The would-be judges, the 144,000, the tabernacle of David, who are to be the new government, the new judges here on earth, to enforce the laws of heaven on earth as it is in heaven, as it is written, under the authority of Yahweh Shai, who is the anointed Savior, who that the world fraudulently and falsely call JC, right? And to the rest of the scattered elect that are scattered around the four corners of the earth, that be like unto the speckled bird, the Israelite foreigners among the heathen nations, that have the appearance of the heathen nations. This is not a black only thing, all right? For the Israelites are scattered among all people, and black is a complete social construct made up to control a false narrative. Same as white. What you're looking at on the screen is the invention of the white race. And this guy, it's Antonio Michi is his channel, but he's talking about the scholar, the historian, Theodore Allen, which about, I don't know, maybe almost 6-7 years ago, I learned about Theodore Allen. And through Theodore Allen, I discovered Dr. Jacqueline Battalora and Robin DiAngelo. So, and these three individuals, but and used Dr. Jacqueline Battalora's research the most, but her research comes from the writings and the information that was gathered up by Mr. Theodore Allen on the creation of whiteness. So there's no such thing as white people. They made it up. So when you look at what's your race and background, ethnicity, and here in America, and it says white, that's completely and totally made up. It's a false social construct to control a very racist narrative. It is very racist and hateful in nature to refer to someone as black or white. All right. And it sadly is that they've blanketed our people with that nonsense to where they don't want to let it go. When you teach them that, they've embraced the false narrative that their enemy has placed upon them. This is 2 Ezra 6:27, and it reads, "For evil shall be put out, and deceit shall be quenched. As for faith it shall flourish, corruption shall be overcome, and the truth which have been so long without fruit shall be declared." All right. And unfortunately for many Israelites, they do not want to embrace the truth. They embrace the falsehood of blackness when their skin is physically and visibly brown when you look upon it. Yet they will still call them, they will agree with that. In fact, all right, when you point it out, yet still turn around and embrace and call themselves black. All right. And before we go any further, I want to read an AI overview of blackness. That's just barely a week old. And I said something, I forget the question. Oh, I put in black as a social construct. And this is what it says. This is the AI overview. And it simply said, yes, the concept of black is as a race is widely considered a social construct, meaning its category created and defines society rather than biological reality. See? Because you're whatever your father is, not the color of your skin. While physical characteristics like skin color exist, the way society categorizes and assigns the meaning of these traits is a human invention. All right? Here's a more detailed explanation. Social constructed, not biological. Scientific evidence shows that there is no single gene or set of genes that defines black people or any racial group according to the governing. Race is a concept that varies across cultures and historical periods, further highlighting its social nature. Historical contents, the idea of racial categories emerged during the Enlightenment partly to justify social hierarchies and a system like slavery. According to the National Institute of Health, NIH, this historical context demonstrates how race was created to serve a specific social and political, and that's exactly what it is. It was created to keep a certain group of people up and a certain group of people down, and the people that were supposed to always be first in this society were labeled white, and the people who are to be permanently on the bottom were labeled black, even though their skin is brown. All right? And that's it, because you have two, when it comes to complexion, you're either pale in complexion or you're tawny and swarthy, which is within the same family. The rest of the world is tawny or swarthy. Only the Edomites are pale, all right? Except for those of our people that are scattered among them. But primarily, the Edomite race is a pale race, and everyone else is tawny or swarthy. And they replaced it with different terms. They'll use tan. They'll use olive color, and it's like olives. Well, clearly not the green ones, because when you talk about olives are primarily like a black, like a purplish black, okay, or they're green. All right, and they'll try to get around the Lord being, that's dark swarthy color, and they'll say, well, olive color. Well, we know he wasn't green. There's no green people. Okay, so this concept is a false one, and I'm going to let this guy that's giving this presentation. I'm going to play about 3 minutes of this video, and you can see the name of it. I highly suggest you go and watch the video, "The Invention of the White Race" by Antonio Michi, and it was written into law the first time in law in 1681 in Virginia, and also in 1682 in Virginia were Negroes, were the title Negro placed upon natives and black people. And they were referred to as the same race because the truth of the matter is they are the people that were always here. Okay? They were the same race coming out of two different captivities. Hence the reason why there were some differences in them as far as the look was concerned. All right? But their ancient racial makeup, they all came from the Levant, which is what you call the Levant sits in Asia. So the truth of the matter is Native Americans did come from Asia. They just didn't come across some make-believe land bridge that connects Alaska to Russia. All right. The land bridge, this imaginary land bridge, is 53 miles long and in sub-zero slushy weather with ice and frozen ocean on either side. 53 miles may as well be 5,000 miles in those type of temperatures in that time. There's no way that millions of people, pregnant women, old people, and small children could have survived a 53-mile. There's no way. And with nothing to hunt, no food, no heat, get out of here, man. That is a pseudoscience, 1 Timothy 6:20 lie. So let's let this man speak. All right, and fair use, section 107 of the copyright disclaimer is declared. Section 107 of the copyright disclaimer is declared. All right, I am not profiting from this. This is for educational and informational purposes only.
The Negroes, 1550 to 1812. You see by the title, he equates white with American, right? And it is the response to the intellectual, the academic response to the civil rights black liberation struggle. This is going to be the counter. And what the core of Jordan's argument is racism is innate. That's the core. It's an unthinking decision, because if racism is innate, why fight it? You can't change it. That's the way it is. No, but this is in the academy, and I'll show you leading left writers who praise Jordan to this day, right? All right. So that's it.
So I got to find out who this Jordan guy is and maybe do another lesson on him. Because Jordan was pointing, clearly he's the one that brought forth all this Theodore Allen stuff first. So we got to look into this Jordan guy that he's talking about.
So Allen says, well, I got to deal with this. Somebody's got to take this on. And that leads him back to the 17th century and how it all gets started. Next, Sean. So Allen now is trying to address the following questions. What is the counter to Jordan's argument? How do we explain 100 years after emancipation that white supremacy and white supremacism are still so strong in this country? Why wasn't there more struggle against white supremacism by European Americans? And what are the ideological arguments that undermine struggle against white supremacy?
The reason is that because European Americans benefited from this new whiteness. It gave them front of the line privileges in every aspect. Land, banking, owning of weapons, owning of land, within the court system. This new label of black people, this new label of Negro, they couldn't even take a so-called white person to court.
Sure. So he concludes that race privilege system, and I think this is important, going back to my own intellectual development stuff, because what he reasons that the bourgeoisie could not long have sustained this ideological influence over the proletarians by mere racist ideology. The idea alone is not going to do it, right? It's got to have some kind of material base. And he says it has to be given a material base in the form of deliberately contrived systems of race privileges. He maintains, and he's been maintaining consistently, and we will probe this much more deeply, that the ideology of white racism is inappropriate to these European American workers because it's contrary to their class interests, right? But he explained that he reasons, if race privileges are in the interests of the white workers, then the white workers should be better off where the privileges are most marked. And where are they most marked? In the South. But in fact, that's where the white workers fare worse, right? In terms of all the economic statistics and everything like that. Go on, Sean. But what Allen goes, and what really, again, struck me and impressed me and kind of shaped a lot of how I understood these things, he goes after what I would argue, are the two main ideological props of white supremacy amongst European American workers. The two main arguments that even if people are getting ready to wage the good fight, kind of help beat it back, help beat that effort back, help sap it, right? The idea that racism is innate, that's Winthrop Jordan's argument. But the second one is the idea that white workers benefit from white race privileges. If they benefit, why should they oppose it, right? And he argues instead, as I indicated before, that we have to understand these privileges as a poison bait, like a shot of heroin. Go on. The unthinking...
Why? Because they basically set mischief by law. Because this created unfair practices and gave these people who are being labeled under this new whiteness, it gave them an unfair advantage in life and in America. As a matter of fact, let's get that. They clearly, I think that's Psalms 94 and 20. They framed mischief by law in this case. Yes, Psalms 94 and 20. And it reads, shall the throne of iniquity have fellowship with thee, which frameth mischief by law, and gather themselves together against the souls of the righteous and condemn the innocent blood? And that's what happened with these practices. All right, because white, let's go to the receipt folder here. And look up this, I got this from Murph years ago. All right. And I have other, receipts on it too, but it says white, the color of milk, fresh snow, innocent, unstained, pure, undiminished, bright, anti-revolutionary, auspicious, reliable, favorable, honorable, honest, upright, without bloodshed, free from guilt, which is completely the opposite. All right. This is actually projection of their guilt. They're guilty of everything that they wrote about themselves. Black, all right, Opposite of white, dirty, messy, light, dark, illegal, dim, smuggled, disastrous, dismal, obscure, sullen, temporal, angry, horrible, grotesque, malignant, unlucky, unhappy, depressed. So that's the definition of black. So basically, black, when you say black people, you may as well say without light people, illegal people, somber people, disastrous people, dismal people. All right? Angry, horrible, grotesque people, malignant people, unlucky people, depressed people. That's literally what you're saying when you call someone black. You call them a grotesque race, a grotesque people. Replace black with grotesque. It means the same in this context, which is the context which they labeled you with it. And I'm tired of telling you dumb motherfuckers. And it's going to be some dumbass ninja on a comment board saying some stupid shit. Some opinionated stupid shit with nothing to back it up with. All right? So blackness and whiteness was a thing that was created in the West, in America, which spread around the whole world to uphold the fraud and the lies and the historical cover-ups with this new form of whiteness, as they whitewashed history. Okay? And all the places throughout Asia, the parts of Europe the parts of Asia that they call Europe were so-called black people actually were the ruling class people. In places like Scotland, Ireland, in Sweden. Okay, learn about the real Viking history. They get angry about that one, man. They go, them Edomites love that Viking shit. And guess what? That was not you. You were the wild man. Okay? And that's what they did. They took true Viking history and whitewashed it with wild man history, and they made that the new Vikings. All right? Complete lies. Italy, Spain, all those places in the Dark Ages from the fall of Rome up until the Renaissance were ruled over by so-called Negroes, what they call Negroes today. Let's let them continue.
Decision is Winthrop Jordan's, right? Sean, next one. The too few free poor to matter. Edmund Sears Morgan is a professor emeritus at Yale. He was president of the Organization of American Historians, a leading American historian cited in publications recently and praised, right? Morgan writes a book that got a lot of recognition for the writing on the colonial period, had many good aspects to it, but his core argument was that there were too few free poor European Americans in Virginia to matter.
And that's what it comes down to. Because when you came from Europe, they called you Dutch, they called you English, they called you what you were. And during this rebellion, he talks about it. There was a rebellion called Bacon's Rebellion, where the free so-called Negroes and natives and the poor Edomites, who were being called Dutch, English, French, or whatever, got together and came against the elite Edomites, who were the wealthy, mostly the J-ish, the little hats. They created this whiteness. And what that did was that gave these people who look like them, who are actually the same people as them. There's no difference between a J-ish person, little hat, and a Spanish person from Spain, a Spaniard today. They're one and the same. All right? You know, they're different, same race, different tribes. But, let them tell it they're not the same, but they are the same. Okay? And they created that, and they allowed you to get by on something that was called whiteness, which fast forward to today, it's not working anymore. All right? Because now you so-called white people are starting to realize that you didn't mean shit to these elites, your own brothers, your own people, the little hats, who are ruling over you. And this is why all your tax money goes to them, and why they have so much grip and control over your government is all you send all your money over to them to fund their wars and their expansions and their and benefit what they want, what they need. Remember, statute, copyright statute 107, copyright statute has been declared.
Why do white people pay so much attention to black people if they don't like them? You would think if you didn't like something, why would you be paying attention to it? I don't pay attention to things I don't like.
Man, what is up with the obsession of black people, dog?
You think if you eat watermelon and drink grape Kool-Aid, you're more likely to somebody?
I don't think that's a true statistic.
It's true.
Look at Bradford.
I'm trying to make stereotypes.
What's the stereotype?
No comment.
Talking about fully unprovoked. I'm pretty sure this man has never had a interaction with black people to begin with.
For all the racist white people that swear.
Yeah, he did. Some dude named Tyrone or Daquan, took the little white girl, little bunny, the cheerleader captain, and clapped them cheeks, and he couldn't, and he got mad. That's more than likely what happened. Because, Tyrone Daquan was much more attractive, had much more swag, and was more appealing to little Miss Bunny, the cheerleader captain. She didn't want his saltless self.
They hate us. They literally are infatuated and obsessed with us, quite literally. We could talk about music. We could talk about culture. We could talk about pop culture. We could talk about all that.
Every time a black or brown person gets on the internet and says, hey guys, do you remember how tanning, lip fillers, BBLs, etc. were made to make white people look like they're a little less white? And then all of the white people who do those things will go, no, it's not all about you. I don't want to look like you. I just want to look more attractive. You look more attractive because you look less white. No matter what way you think about it or not, the fact that lip fillers exist is undeniably to make people look more ethnic. Because once upon a time, when white men realized, oh, we're supposed to be racist, I forgot. They had to keep their hidden ethnic escapades secret, even though they were very much and are still attracted to black and brown women. So they started trying to find ways to make their white women look like that. And that's why now you have white women chasing that dream of, looking, sun-kissed, having big luscious lips, having an ass, all of that shit that they naturally were not born with. And you can swear up and down that it's not inspired by black or brown people. You can swear up and down that it has nothing to do with that. You can say, oh, I hate them. I don't want to look like them. Because when you go back to the very beginning, who's going to be on that inspiration board? A black woman. Whose lips are you going to be using as a reference to show to your doctor? A black woman's.
If we were to say there's an HWCU and say it's historically white college university, would we be called racist?
Leave us alone. Would you be called racist? Matter of fact, that is all the colleges in America prior to HBCUs. Where do you think HBCUs come from? And to help you out, they're called PWIs. Predominantly white institutions.
Look, Luke 8:17. For nothing is secret that shall not be made manifest, neither anything hid that shall not be known and come abroad. You Edomites are losing, man. And you're exposed.
What the? Oh my God. It's hilarious when the white Americans do. If white people did it, we don't gotta imagine. Y'all have done it. Y'all have done it all.
Exactly.
You can't say anything that's going to surprise us because you've done it all.
I'm really noticing a trend. Anytime I talk about white culture or white supremacy, there's always these people in my comments who's like, black culture, black this, black that. What? We're talking about white people. Black people have nothing to do with this.
Jeremiah 49:10. But I have made Esau bare. I have uncovered his secret places, and he shall not be able to hide himself. His seed is spoiled, and his brethren, and his neighbors, and he is not. Esau, Edom, the self-proclaimed white man, are the biblical Edomites, hated of God and hated of all mankind at this point. And that's showing itself more and more every day. And as we march toward the end and as we get closer to them setting up their NWO, their digital currency, which they're going to bring through all this chaos that they're orchestrating, All right. At the end of it, they are going to fail. A couple more scriptures. Job 27:15. Those that remain of him shall be buried in death, and his widow shall not weep. Some of the main critics of Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, are the women you see on the screen. This woman right here. This woman right here. All right. And chances are that both of them are getting stroked out and pleasured by someone that's so-called black or brown. Call halal, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Rikahakwadash, Kwam, Yasharallah, Abad Babal.